Hey everyone, it's SpursRail96 here. Welcome to another Train Sim World news video. Today Dovetail Games and Just Trains have revealed the next piece of content coming to the game after the release of the US route, the MBTA commuter. And this route in question is probably one of the most highly anticipated route releases in Train Sim World 5's life cycle. And that is the BR Blue 1986 UK route for West Coast Main Line over Shap route. This route will be releasing on November the 21st, 2024 for all platforms. The price has gone up this time for this route. It will be at a price of £32.99, €39.99 and $45 in the United States of America. So, as always, let's dive straight into the details. Firstly, the route itself. What the hell is it? So, the route is over 100 miles of track included in the West Coast Main Line over Shap route. It's the longest UK route in Train Sim World's history. It will go from Preston to Carlisle and also have a little added extra bonus, the Morecambe branch as well. So this dramatic and high-speed stretch of the line forms part of the much longer real-world West Coast Main Line extending from London Euston through to Scotland. Preston will be familiar to players of Just Trains' previous route add-on, Blackpool Branches, which you'll be able to make use of the new route hopping feature to port between the two add-ons. From here, the West Coast Main Line continues to extend north, facilitating gameplay down to the next station on the line, Lancaster. This northern city, whose name links to the famous House of Lancaster and the wider country of Lancashire, is also where a branch line splits off for some additional short-form gameplay to the seaside town of Morecambe via Bear Lane. Trains will pass through Carnforth Station, where during this era the Steamtown Museum was located. Oxenholme further north then provides the real-world jumping off point for passengers keen to explore the Lake District. On this stretch, the famous Shap Summit will provide a challenge for those driving any kind of traction, climbing up to the highest point on the West Coast Main Line. After a call at Penrith towards the northern end of the Lake District, players will reach the city of Carlisle, which not only features the station, but also the nearby King Moore Depot. So that's a little bit of a overview of the route itself. What about the traction, the rolling stock? What's going to be included in this route as far as that is concerned? Well, let's dive into that. The main star of the show will be the BR Class 87 BR Class 87-0 electric locomotive. It's the first electric locomotive to be added to the British Rail fleet, if you want to call it like that, in Train Sim World. This classic traction from the 1970s quickly became the star of the West Coast Main Line during the 1980s, when the nationalised British Rail branding was widespread across the entire United Kingdom rail network. In the game, the Class 87 will provide a totally unique driving experience. An advanced style of operation offers a real challenge to players familiar with more modern electric units and diesel locomotives, and is equally distinct from the larger roster of electric locomotives seen in German add-ons. At the centre of this is a tap changer operation control. This phrase will be familiar to players of some of the older German locomotives in Train Sim World, like the DBBR 103 and the DBBR 111. With this comes a degree of jeopardy, with the potential to fail if not operated correctly. The main circuit breaker will trip, cutting power to the drive motors if you try and demand higher power than the train can supply. In addition to this, the 87 has a number of notable and unique features, such as authentic neutral section operation, a fully accessible machine room, including operating controls. You can walk fully between the cab ends, fully authentic sound set supplied by Armstrong Powerhouse, a unique and large number of locomotive nameplates included, 2 liveries, locomotive operating tutorials, ability to start from a totally dead state, and realistic simulgraph train dynamics based on real-world data. And just to get as much realism as possible on this locomotive, Just Trains even employed the use of a real-world Class 87 engineer to ensure the authenticity of the in-game 87 is as close as possible to the real-world version. Now, though today they have been replaced by more modern electric multiple units, a single mainline certified example of the Class 87 sees rail tour action along the West Coast Main Line, much to the delight of enthusiasts. Also new to Train Sim World are the eagerly awaited Mark 3A passenger coaches, which were permitted to achieve a slightly higher speed, 110 miles per hour, over the Mark II variants, which were limited to 100 miles per hour. The next piece of stock that will be coming with this route is the BR Class 101 diesel multiple unit, running alongside the high-speed express services, local trains served by the BR Class 101 diesel multiple unit, as previously seen in routes such as my beloved favourite, Northern Transpennine, and Tees Valley Line. These classic first-generation diesel multiple units from the 1950s ran through until 2003 and saw action across a large number of main and branch lines, including the Northwest. For the West Coast Main Line, Preston to Carlisle route, the Class 101 has been worked on to provide a number of improvements on previous releases. These include the addition of new suspension physics, enhanced audio, updated interior textures, updated destination blinds, and exhaust smoke effects. Now, the next diesel locomotive coming with this route is the BR Class 08 Shunter, offering up shunting gameplay. This legend has seen action across 8 decades, from its original use in depots and yards, frequented by steam locomotives, through to use in the preservation moment and continued use on main lines into the 21st century. Class 08 services will occupy the yards and stations at Preston and Carlisle, providing a shorter, more engaging style of gameplay that involves moving stock between roads and getting trains ready for haulage by other locomotives. And the final locomotive coming with this route is the BR Class 47-4 diesel locomotive. For players wanting a familiar locomotive to operate between Preston and Carlisle, the 47 returns, having been seen in multiple Train Sim World route add-ons, including Blackpool branches. The difference in operation between this and the Class 87 will offer two distinct driving experiences for players along the length of the route, and a way for players to learn the route prior to taking on the challenge of the Class 87. Like the Blackpool branches variants, these locomotives feature nameplate and livery variation, as well as some smoke effect improvements and visual differences over some of the older versions from previous Train Sim World add-ons, including new suspension physics. Now, that's the locomotives and the rolling stock taken care of. Let's take a look at the timetable, service layers and scenarios and what the hell you can do with this route. So the timetable for this portion of the West Coast Main Line over Shap route will depict a full 24-hour weekday based on the working timetable from 1986 and a trip notice booklet for the region. This will use the available rolling stock to feature high-speed express trains running from Preston through to Carlisle, as well as local, main and freight services, including the Morecambe branch line. Also featured is up to a whopping 6 hours of shunting gameplay at Carlisle alone, using the BR Class 08 in multiple trip workings. In addition, the timetable will be further filled with services and substitutions from other Train Sim World add-ons. You will need Blackpool branches to operate the Class 142 diesel multiple unit and the TEA tanker wagons, West Cornwall Local for the Sea Cow and Turbo wagons, Tees Valley Line for the HEA wagons, Northern Transpennine for the BR Class 45 diesel locomotive, Spirit of Steam for the LMS Jubilee steam locomotive, Mark I coaches, the 16-ton mineral wagon and the 20-ton brake van, the British Rail Heavy Freight Pack for the BR Class 40 diesel locomotive, and you will need, finally, the BR Class 31 loco add-on and the BR Class 20 loco add-on, as well as the corresponding wagons, the PCA and the PGA wagons. Due to the technical limitations of the old Xbox One and PlayStation 4 consoles, the level of the available features has been significantly reduced, and a separate reduced timetable will be available to players on those consoles alone. As far as scenarios goes, there will be 5 of them for this route, 1 for the BR Class 47, 2 for the 87, 1 for the Class 08, and 1 for the BR Class 101. There will also be collectibles to hunt down, including parcel trolleys, miniature castles, route maps, mint cake, which nearby Kendal is famous for, and rail tour posters. Some of these will be located in explorable buildings and locations, including fully modelled signal boxes at selected places on this route. Mastery challenges are also included. There will be the usual 2 tiers to unlock. Tier 1 unlocks decals for use in the livery designer, and Tier 2 unlocks toggable scenery tiles. And that's pretty much it. If you'd enjoyed this video, then make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell if you haven't done so already. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. This is going to be an absolute cracker of a route. There's no doubt about that. So, before my voice goes, I'd just like to say, once again, thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time.